Hello, everybody. Aaron Stark here. Today's episode of The Way Out is Through is going to be called A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Last night, I watched a really good movie. It's that new Tom Hanks movie about Mr. Rogers, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I give it full recommendations, 10 out of 10 stars. Absolutely amazing movie. I was legitimately crying about at least half of the movie. Just happy tears because I was watching the best parts of my childhood up on screen. And it made me really think about what those best parts were. You know, I talk a lot about the bad parts in my life and about the dark parts of growing up, but there were some happy parts too. And a lot of those happy parts were, when I look back at it, it was things like Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And there's a song on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood that I actually took and use for my own kids' songs. It was called "Me and My Llama" in the old song. It was about a boy taking his llama to the zoo, and I used to love that song. For some reason, the tone just hit me. So when my daughters were born, each one of them as they've grown up, I have taken the tone of that song and changed it into their song. First it was a Tasha song, then it was a Bella song. Yeah, it's been great. And so watching that movie, I just was seeing the sincerity and kindness and compassion that Fred Rogers had for children and for people. And he both didn't talk down to the kids, didn't disrespect the kids by talking to them with baby talk, and he didn't give the adults unneeded credit. He made a point to always let it be known that adults can mess up too, and just because you're grown up doesn't mean you're perfect. And I remember sitting and watching those shows when everything else in my life was completely nuts. I would sit and watch those shows, and it would be like just a bastion of hope, just a great time. I loved Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And so looking at it now, I look around to the world we have today, and I see all the fighting and all the arguments and all the constant bickering back and forth and the fear in the media, and everybody is afraid all the time. Who's going to win the election and who's going to pass the law, and are we going to... we live in a very tense time. And I just want to say, from me to you, we're going to make it through it. We really are. It seems like it's a rough patch, and it is a rough patch. We've had rough patches before, and we've made it through it, and we're going to make it through it again. It might be in a different form than we are now. In fact, it is guaranteed to be a different form than we are now, because we're a different people than we were 20 years ago. We're a different people than we were 40 years ago. We're a different people than we were 2 years ago, because that's the nature of time, the nature of change. As someone once said, someone being me, change is the only constant in life. And the only thing that you're absolutely sure of is that tomorrow is going to be different than today. And if you look at that on a month-to-month scale, it just... I mean, look, we have TV shows like that 70s show, okay? That 70s show came out in the 90s. That would be about 20 years apart. Right now is about 25 years. It's longer now between now and that 70s show than it was between that 70s show and when it came out. But we as adults, I think we've lost a sense of nostalgia. I think we've lost a sense of looking at the past with positive eyes, because we do what most people do and what I usually do, and look at it with negative eyes. And we have to remember that sometimes there were roses growing out of our sidewalk. Sometimes there were flowers coming out of parts that we never knew flowers could grow. And maybe those flowers help make us who we are now. So if you feel like you're still on a sidewalk, and if you feel like you're not growing at all, just think a bit that in 10 years you're going to look back and you're going to see all the growth that you never saw before. Because you can't see it while it's happening. It's too gradual. But anyway, these are the thoughts that movie made me think of. I loved it so much. Absolutely full recommend. If you have the ability to watch it now, watch it right now. It is one of the best movies I think I've seen in a decade or so, just because of the amount of emotions that it brings up and the way that it touches on such a real real story. So, anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel about it. Let me know how your day is going. I will try to put out more of these videos, but as we all know, I'm a bit procrastinating on that. So, I love you guys. As always, you are not alone.